Okay, let's do this, people. Greetings, dear Capricorn. This one is for you. This is Tarot Lumination with your general report for what we call April 2018. Now, Capricorn, you know there's a lot of action going on in your world right now. Of course, Pluto's there still, of course, and Saturn's there now, and Mars is there. So that's a lot of heavy duty, heavy hitter energies all clustered up in your right in your face right now. So in some ways you might feel as though the world is ganging up against you. In other ways you might feel as though you're coming into your own power finally. It might be tough. I mean, the thing is with Saturn there, you know, it is your own world, so to speak. However, like if you're not fully aligned with yourself, your Saturnian self, anything that's out of alignment, you could really, really feel it as probably very uncomfortable and getting really PO'd about all of that. You know, just there's so much action going on that's relevant to you, Capricorn. Let's just get into it very quickly here so you have a little bit of a heads up. Right at the very beginning of April, last day of March 31st, we've got this big full moon. It's a very, very stressful full moon. I'm just letting you know in advance. This is all your energy up here, Capricorn. This is the Libra moon here, just for a few days. And this is all the Aries energy here, which is live right now. Okay? So this is going to have an effect for at least a few weeks coming into the new moon. So please understand, like, in some ways, the Aries-Libra axis is under tremendous pressure because of you and your energy, you know, the energy of relationships. Like if you think of yourself as the like the reality check police getting very serious and real now and no effing around, and it's putting on notice all the Aries and Libra energy, and that includes you. You have an Aries-Libra axis inside you too. So you might feel as though you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself about what's happening in your most significant relationships. How is this actually working out for you? It's a lot of pressure. You could also feel in the reverse that the Aries-Libra energies are piling up against you and that you might feel very militant in wanting to resist the pressures that you're feeling. That's very tough energy, okay? For you, Capricorn, for Aries, and for Libra. But you're right in the middle. You're the pivot point for the massive T-square. Just giving you a heads up. This is not an astrology channel, by the way. These are just my personal notes that I'm sharing. Next, we've got the Aries new moon, okay? There's a lot of hard squares because it's 3 planets up here, 4 planets over here. That's a lot of heavy hitting hard squares between you, Capricorn, and the Aries energy. Both very strong energies, but very, very different. So let's put it this way, okay? Let's pretend this is you right here on the horizon, sort of Capricorn sun, Capricorn moon, Capricorn rising. See that? All that Aries stuff piling up down here in your 4th house, home, foundations, family. New beginnings, but that typically comes at the expense of endings. So just letting you know, you might find some real surges of energy taking over here, starting to take over your life in a way like, wait a minute, what's going on, people? When the Aries new moon kicks in, and then for the rest of April, in fact, for the next year, given with this. And it's going to be an awkward moment again. April 21st, these are calendar moments. I should have given you the dates. March 31st, okay? March 31st, April 15th, and then we're going to buzz forward to April 21st. This is just a calendar moment, a couple of days, very hard oppositions and squares here. Capricorn, your opposition, Cancer, and the Aries. There's a huge opposition here, multiple oppositions for you, Capricorn. So, you know, don't get too freaked out about this if you feel very aggressive and assertive about how things should be with whatever is happening for you in your personal relationships, the most important ones, one-on-one, like marriage. Please be very aware that anger can turn ugly very quickly, okay? Over here at the end of the month, a little bit of a break. when we get into the Taurus energy, Taurus sun and Scorpio moon, and that's very harmonious for you, luckily. So just hang in with all the heavy squares and oppositions for April. And then when we get to the end of April, things should smooth out a little bit for you, okay? Gosh, that was a long intro. Oops, sorry. All right. Cards are well shuffled in advance. Here we go. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry about that. No time, no room. I love the cards the way they were originally painted. So here we go. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. All of it, reinterpret however you want, okay? It's your reading for you, okay? Please bring your angels into the room with you while we're doing this. Hope you're sitting comfortably. Sit back and enjoy the show. Okay. This would be deep heart energy, okay, at the very core of you. Pulsing, heart wants what it wants, needs what it needs, and it's up to you, Capricorn, to listen and then make your decisions. Legacy energy over here. With all this pressure, you might feel as though you're under a huge amount of pressure through April, okay? Capricorn, that would be totally understandable. Like if you're completely wigging out, and typically you wouldn't want to show that. You wouldn't be showing that side of your nature to the world, but still, it's there, okay? So we need to acknowledge that, okay? We'll see what's happening, okay? Over here is the energy of now, the ever-present now. Forget what we call the past. Forget what we call the future. Stay present. Stay in the now, because this is where you own your power, okay? No matter how uncomfortable this might be, especially through April for you, Capricorn, all right? Over here is the healing power of your decisions, okay? Which are activated in the now, consciously. If it's not activated in the now consciously, decisions are being made unconsciously through the limbic system, and then you're living your life on autopilot. So the more you become conscious, the more you stay in the now, the more you have a chance of nurturing the heart, what it really truly needs, as opposed to what the outside world or your outside world thinks it needs or what you need. So how do we do this? Acknowledging and listening to the heart, because with so much pressure on you, Capricorn, in the day-to-day world, it would be very easy to ignore or be unaware of what the heart truly needs and wants. So it makes it very, very important to listen more than ever and feel more than ever. So if we do that properly, figuring out how do we do that, how do we activate the healing power of your decisions such a way that actually works for you, then these would be the sort of consequences we might be expecting. Over here, no matter how gifted we are or how present we are in the now, there's always a sense of risk and reward when we anticipate our future, typically based on projections from what we know of the past, which of course doesn't have to be, but that's how a lot of us work. So what if we mess up? What if you do a decent job? Oh, okay. And over here, prospects and momentum. We're going to look at the circumstantial energy right now for you, Capricorn, and then we're going to make the best of it, okay? The Hermit. So you might be feeling under so much pressure that's just like you and the rest against the rest of the world right now, which I think would be totally understandable, given the notes that I just showed you. If you're feeling very isolated, please understand that there's a reason why this happens. The pressures, the planetary movements are always a gift for you, even in their most stressful alignments, like right now in April for you, Capricorns. There is a way to turn this around and view this as a gift. In other words, please treat your challenges as gifts and understand that you, like the rest of us, ultimately have to deal with this. In the end, there is only you. And getting your guidance from the inside of you, like no matter who or what else is going on out there, and coming to terms with your own unique identity of self. And it shouldn't be too hard to understand or accept this, Capricorn, because you're very used to carving out, creating your own life path and your own journey, understanding that it can be very solitary and demanding at times. But I think we're taking it to extremes now. It feels like you are under a lot of pressure to be the most amazing Capricorn ever before, which means understanding what is not working in your life and then taking full ownership and awareness and understanding that you have to become your own, you have to become fully spiritually aware from the inside out, okay? It's very important right now. Let's have a look at the heart energy. Okay. So with the Ten of Pentacles here, my feeling is that part of you is very vividly aware of how fortunate you are to have some of the things that very few of us have in this life, in this world. Certain like values, beliefs, structures, material anchors. A lot of the things that people want, like home, family, structure, abundance, security, enough that can be shared, okay? So deep down, no matter how challenging the external is, your heart is telling you, like, don't worry, dear Capricorn, we've got this. You are a lump of granite at the core. You're like Fort Knox. You're like the gold reserves in Canada. Okay? You've got this. Don't worry. Okay? And just let's keep it going that way. Okay? That's what I'm feeling. In other words, my feeling is that this is very much to do with the Uranus and Taurus thing happening and the Aries new moon that's happening, where your home, your foundations, your family, your structure, everything that constitutes your three-dimensional material world is really going to be lit up, and you're going to realize how much you really, really got, and to be extremely grateful. And then whatever's not working, become aware of that too, as what's not working, what the things that you don't have. And then we can pay attention to that later on. Let's have a look. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, love, the good stuff, the real thing. So it might be, wow, Capricorn, it might be that the energies are already working on you so much, so powerfully, so strongly that you've already realized you don't have an option here. You don't have any wiggle room except to choose the healing power of love. Going back, starting off, it's almost like giving up, saying, you know what, I'm this Capricorn energy. It's very evident in your relationships with your dear ones in this world, in your place in this world, your career in this world, your foundations of your life in this world. You don't have an option except to be your most loving self. You're coming in with your most loving self and all your wealth and gifts and talents and abundance, because you might be realizing you don't have a choice here. And like to me, it almost feels like there's so much pressure on you to realize how much you do have, how much your heart still needs and wants. And that's a very, very, very good foundation on which to build. And so coming in with the healing power of love, it almost feels like Capricorn rising into the highest expression of yourself, where it isn't all about the worldly side of life. It's all about the love, so to speak, where you realize, my gosh, you really got this. And it's something that you can share. You can share, and it will become evident in the foundations of your life, which will have an echo effect in your career, your destiny in the world, which will then echo back into your foundations, like mutually fulfilling. So under incredible duress, under incredible pressure, it's like, like almost like refining gold here. That's what I'm seeing, like going through the brutal processes of what happens when they refine gold, So let's have a look. What about the now? Jeepers, Capricorn, what's going on? Part of you, it seems so contradictory to what the planets are showing, incredibly stressful alignments, and yet it seems to me from this little spread, this little story, the way it's unfolding, is that either you've already figured this out and you knew that this was coming, and you've already made conscious, deliberate decisions to tune into the love perspective, tune into the heart, listen to the heart, be incredibly aware of how fortunate you are and how much love that you do actually have inside you that you can share, literally like spreading it around like honey and jam. And that's amazing, because that's like the essence of happiness. So with the Sun card here, my feeling is like this is an indication of a life well lived. Even if you're young or younger adult or older or even really old, kind of doesn't matter. Capricorns can be very spiritually evolved people, but they don't necessarily display that because they are sort of, you know, it's like a work in progress here. They're supposed to actually turn it into a practice here, which might translate into being a good boss or a good leader or a good spouse or a good friend or something, good teacher, a good person, without having to be dressing in yoga gear all day or wearing beads and smelling of incense. And instead, just radiating the power, the love, and the happiness that you have from the inside out. Like, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. You've already figured out that the only thing that counts is now. So that's very, very important. It just might have been a very, very tough journey to get to this point where it finally clicks in. So maybe by the end of April, this will make a lot more sense, because at the beginning of April, it's very, very stressful planets for you. Okay, I'm just saying. So I'm feeling like this is already, like you're already aware of how stressful it's going to be, and you're already anticipating getting through this and coming out the other side. So what about your decisions? Okay. Chiefers, we're dealing with big cards here, Capricorn. So it feels to me that you're already fully on top of what we've talked about, and you're realizing that you're going to have to rewrite the codes of your life from the foundations upwards, because this is what counts. This is what's important. And whatever it took to get there, you could just call that the journey. In other words, it's not the money that counts. It's what the money can do. It's not the being able to look like the most loving person. It's actually being the most loving person and living by example, even if that means doing very, very challenging things that bring out the capacity to be your most loving self, and so radiating your true light. And so that's a very, very, very tough journey to carry this much evidence of a life well lived. No matter how stressful things are right now around you in your three-dimensional world, deep at the core heart of you, Capricorn, something very wholesome and good is happening, and it looks like you are aware of it. We're anticipating here, already anticipating into May. So with the Hierophant here, my feeling is that it's all about making decisions to like profoundly restructure the foundations of your life, so that this isn't just a blip in time, a moment in a Tarot Lumination April 2018 reading. This is durable. This has substance, and this can be kind of a template for a new way of being, a new way of life, rewriting the whole code of who you are, what you do, and how you do it. So how are you going to do that effectively? Okay. Cheapers, Capricorn. All right, I think this is very much to do with the planetary alignments right now, in that it's very evident that things have to change, that they're going to change, and there's no going back. And there's a whole new world unfolding, and that's just how it has to be. And it's going to be done in steps, the Capricorn way, slow and steady, but it starts now. It happens here in April, and I think it's going to be very closely aligned with those lunar cycles we talked about. The new moon, this one coming into April, this one middle April, a bit of a shaker upper here towards the end, and a whole new perspective on you later in April. So with Taurus and Scorpio energy over here later in April, this is talking about like being happy. This is the fifth house, your natal fifth house of love, true love, happiness, joy, excitement, taking risks, just being loving and being happy, and bringing that into your community, into your world. And I think you're going to start, to me, this looks like you are like this, getting ready for this to happen, okay? So consequently, wow, coming into your own, finally. It actually means like, it, to me, it feels like so much pressure, but it's in Capricorn style, and so you can handle it. Like, it's tough being at the top. It's tough being the one where the buck stops here. There's nowhere else to go. You know, like being the president of this or the president of that. It's just like, ultimately, you get blamed for whatever else, whatever goes wrong. ultimately comes back down to you, the president of your life and your world. Whatever works comes to you as well. And you can allocate blame, and you might have people to whom you can delegate stuff in life and world, like they do in hierarchical presidencies and things like that, in corporations where they have tiers and hierarchies of execution. But my feeling here is that this is a very profound indication that we're talking about a pinnacle here, reaching like a fully maximized version of yourself. It probably happened under extreme duress for you to get here and be where this is, where you do come into your own, where you can become like literally the master of your world. Again, all through making conscious, deliberate decisions, understanding that whole ways of being have to go, whole new ways of being have to be restructured. And someone has to lead this. Someone has to do it. Someone has to have the vision and the guidance deep down in their gut to do this. It's just like being the boss of a corporation and realizing no matter what anyone else or everyone else thinks or whatever the markets are saying, you know that big changes are going to happen, that they are happening, that they will happen, and the end of one way of being is over, and the beginning of new way of being is just happening. So what happens if you mess up on, let's say, honoring this intense pressure here to restructure? It's like you know, in the corporate world where they do that restructuring of a whole business, and some you know, anonymous or whatever they call them, those people from corporate world and Wall Street, they come in and they do a total blitz. They blow the whole company up and they rebuild. They keep all the good bits and they get rid of everything that's not working. I think it's called synergizing the corporation, something like that. I think that's kind of what's happening here with you in your life and your world, Capricorn. Knowing that things have to change and that they will change inevitably forever and ever moving forward. End of certain old ways, beginning of new ways, and really shining. It's like if you've got a really successful way of life and you know it has to become better, that's a very, very tough challenge. But it looks like you're up for it over here. So if you don't honor the code, the new codes that have to be written, that you know have to be instituted in your life, in your world, relationships, home, family, career, finances, community, health, communications, listening and speaking, whatever it is, wherever these aspects fall in your life, if you don't honor the creation of this new code and the end of a way and the beginning of a new, then you lose this amazing opportunity. However, when you do honor the reality that everything needs to be completely restructured, then the opportunity opens up for you for it actually to happen. Okay? So there's a tremendous amount at stake here. All right, Capricorn, let's have a look going down. Okay. Well, with the Justice, there are so many major arcana here. It might feel, Capricorn, as though you're getting swept along by all of this. Part of you is like, okay, well, I guess Tarot Lumination says I'm doing a great job. I don't get it, but apparently the cards say so. My feeling, okay, so that's the kind of energy I'm trying to put across here for you, Capricorn, that by going with the flow of this, understanding that you're under a lot of pressure, and that there are big shifts, big changes coming up here in the foundations of your life. And so be it. With the Justice over here, it's almost like this is what you deserve. And again, it's like, you know, a life well lived. Like when people are recognized for being someone who is the epitome of a life well lived, it kind of inspires deep respect and awe. People don't go around just saying they're jealous or like, oh, it's all fake, it's a phony, the thief, or whatever, they slept their way to the top, whatever it is. No, this is good, honest reality checking where You did everything legitimately and honestly. Uh, that is inscrutable, that cannot be, what's the word? It cannot be, let's say, faulted. In other words, you're getting your just rewards here. And if you're not feeling that, Capricorn, it might be because this energy is very latent right now, but it will blossom. You might feel this a lot more making sense towards the end of April. We'll see. I'd love it if you could keep me posted on all this. There's so much like raw power here, and I think it's very much to do with the Pluto, Saturn, Mars thing. It could be easy to be it could be overwhelmed by this. Uh, so if you need, you know, you can come to terralumination.com for if you want to work this stuff out a little bit more in detail. This is generic for lots of people. I've said enough. I don't want to spoil this. I think you know roughly what we're talking about here, Capricorn. If you have to reinterpret and make the best of this, reinterpret however you want. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. And thank you so much for visiting here at Terra Illumination. I love doing this for you guys. Okay, so all the best.